We're going to do parabolas now. We did, hyperbolas. We did parabolas and ellipses. It's still the same thing, right? You change the signs and move it. What's weird here is going to be the asymptotes. Okay, the asymptotes change a good bit. Same thing though. How do you know the difference in an ellipse and a hyperbola? The minus. There should be a minus. Okay. That does not look like our equation for a hyperbola at all. What do we have to do? Complete the square. Yes. Twice for x and y. Okay, so this is a good review of completing the square. Oh, okay. So I left my blanks, but before I complete the square, I can't complete the square like this. What do I have to do?
Split it. Magic trick.
Yeah, I can't do, you cannot complete the square unless A is 1, okay? So I'm trying to complete the square here and complete the square here. Why are there conversations going on? Right. You've got to factor out before you complete the square. So what am I going to factor out of the red? 9. And you're left with x squared what? And then we'll leave our blank. Okay, and then what am I going to factor out of the green? Negative 16. And you're left with y squared what? Plus 2. Okay, and I'm leaving my blanks. Now, right side, we still have the 16. And then remember when you factor something out, you have to multiply by that number. So whatever goes in this blank, I'm going to have to multiply by 9. And then whatever goes in this blank, I need to multiply by a negative 16. Okay, I'll give you a second to copy. Are you with me? I don't remember, but I will tell you I'm sure we will not have the phenomenal grades we had last time with like well over 100 for a lot of people, although there is a bonus, but no, like it's mostly memorizing. Now the problem is it's one of those where it's either really good or really bad, because if you don't look at it and don't memorize anything, you can't really like make stuff up and get partial credit if you have no clue where to start. So as long as you like look over it and memorize, people do well. Yes, absolutely. Ever for the rest of your high school math career, yes. Because you only have one more lesson tomorrow. This is the hardest one out of this chapter. Okay, so now we're going to complete the square. With here, what's our b? Negative 8. So what's b over 2? And when you square that, you get, so 16 goes in the blank. And it's going to factor using that negative 4. Questions? Yes. I want you to do the y now. So do the y, add it to both sides, and then simplify that right side. Second, what's b over 2? Yeah. And so that's what we're going to use here. It's going to factor into a plus 1. Yeah. Is that scary or good? And Fisher, what goes in the blank then? Okay, so then on the right side you have 16 plus 9 times 16 minus 16. What do you get? Questions? That still does not look like a hyperbola. What do we have to do? It's supposed to look like Say what? These, oh, I just left a blank and then that's where I filled it in here. So we didn't actually fill anything in. It was where we were making space for them. So yes, I need a 1 on the right. I divide by 144. 9 over 144 gives me what number in the denominator? Great question. It should. Man, you know, I've senioritis. Okay. And then what goes under the y plus 1 squared? Remember those numbers swap. 9, 16. Okay. So this is your hyperbola. What is the dominant axis? Y. It would be because it's first, if you always make sure it's in standard form. But it's dominant because it's the positive one. Positive 16 is greater than a negative 9. It's positive. What is the center? 4, negative 1. What's A? And B. How do you find C? Yes, in the formula here we have a minus, so down here we're going to use a plus. If I have sides 3, 4, what's my hypotenuse? Now we can graph, this is a hyperbola, it's x-axis dominant. Oh, okay, so I'm going to start with my center at 4, negative 1. 4, negative 1, and then I'm going to go which way 4? Which one? Left and right, why? Because it's x dominant 1. You're going to run out of room. We'll see it. Oh. You just took Spanish. Wasn't that you? And then that's my A. Now use my B. Which way do I go for B? Up and down. Okay. We can go ahead and graph our foci. Which axis are they going to be on? X, because it's dominant, so it's going to just be out one more. Foci, 5. So I just went out one more than the vertices. C, yes, thanks. Okay, now we have to graph our asymptotes. How do we graph our asymptotes? Put our box, yeah. Huh? We don't, yes, that's what will make the box. From those 4 points we just graphed in purple. Yes. Okay, and there's our box. And now, listen, it will be, we're going to have to find asymptotes in a second, and it's really, really easy if you're really, really neat right here. Okay, so if you're neat and you can net this corner to the center to this corner, and remember it's the asymptote, so it should be a dotted line. And then same here. Those are your asymptotes. Now we can draw our hyperbola. But remember, the hyperbola is going to go from the vertices, not from that foci. Again, not much for us. That's where the application comes in. Bless you. So that was long, and we're not done because it asks for center, vertices, foci, asymptotes. We found center. We haven't found vertices or foci or asymptotes. Now, can you go and find your vertices? Could you count that if you graphed it on graph paper? I think so. Same with foci. Okay, so I'm not going to worry as much about that. Like, literally, you can count the points on the graph. Let's look at asymptotes. Now, there's a complicated like mathematical way to find it. And what you would do is use point slope. So do you remember point slope form? Ooh. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Now that is, we're going to do that with our slope and with our point. Our point is going to be our center. Our slope is going to be what would have been the slope on our original one, which is what? You remember what went in front of, if this was centered at the origin, what we would put in front of x from yesterday? B over a. So our slope is going to be b over a, which is what? What? 3 over 4, but it's going to be, we have two lines, right? Plus or minus. So we're going to plug this in and we get y minus a negative y1 equals plus or minus 3/4 x minus x1. And we'll distribute, but we have to distribute a plus and a minus. B over a. So that's a formula we learned yesterday. So we're going to distribute. What is a positive 3/4 times 4? Positive 3/4 times 4 is 3, and then we have that negative. And then for the negative, we get negative 3/4 x. What's negative 3/4 times a negative 4? Yeah, so all that changed there was the sign. We have to solve for y. So we're going to subtract 1 on each side. So subtract my 1. What is negative 3 minus 1? And what is 3 minus 1? Those are your two asymptotes. Now, that is not the only way to do it. I told you if you were neat on your graph, there's an easier way. Okay, so there's the arithmetic way if you want to do that. I'm going to show you the graphing way. Can I scroll from this? Speak up if not. Okay, so just look at your graph. How do you write the equation of a line? Yeah, y equals mx plus b. So look at this one. What kind of well, is it positive or negative slope? Positive. Start anywhere. You can pick 2 points here to there. It'll be really easy to go from your center up. Oh, look, we rose 3 and ran 4. That was that b over a. So slope for this is 3/4. What's it going to be for the other one? Negative 3/4. Okay, look at this one. What is the asymptote? The intersection. The y-intercept would be negative 4. So I can write this equation, y equals, that was my positive 3/4, and minus 4. Way easier, okay, as long as you have a neat graph. And then what does this asymptote, intersection go through? 2, so that was my negative 3/4. We think hyperbola because they have opposite signs, but we need to get it in the hyperbola form, which means we need to do what? Complete the square. Okay, so we're going to need to complete the square, but the problem with completing the square here is what? Yeah, I got to rearrange. I got to put my x and my x and my y and my y. So, I'm here. So I'm going to put the 18x with that, and I'm going to go ahead and leave a blank. Okay, I want you to complete this square. Okay, so this is what you should have gotten when you completed the square, and here's your equation. Now, this doesn't look, we said we think it's going to be a hyperbola. This doesn't look like any of our forms. You would have to divide through by 9, but the problem is this is not a hyperbola.